modern technology that our US cotton farmers are using. Then, of course, processing from fiber to garment, that mostly flies over their head because, you know, spinning, they're not exactly spinners, but we talk about spinning. And then we have sustainability and traceability. That's very interesting for them. And then we also include a mill visit. Now, this is the moment when I like to show you a video that we have made from the last mill exchange program, where a Turkish group came back to Pakistan to visit 2 mills here in the country. So enjoy that video. It's a little bit long, but I think it's still interesting. Not too long. Very nice video, I love it, and everyone has seen it. Was a nice, beautiful mill in Kotri, Tata, of course, and at this point I don't want to miss to mention that we also saw a second factory as nice as this one, and it was one of the factories of the Nagina Group. Now, mill exchange program, a very popular program of the offerings of solutions. Group marks 5 different key performance indices with each other, with mills in your own country and also mills worldwide. And the 5 key performance indices are yield, machine productivity, labor productivity, efficiency, and energy consumption. In here you have an overview about participating mills. We have 225 units at the moment, and you see from which countries. Actually, every country in the world that has a significant textile industry is included. And who leads the pack? Pakistan, of course, with 51 mills in this country, followed by Bangladesh and India. So South Asia as such represents, of course, the vast majority of the participating mills. But important is the fact that we have also mills from Latin America, Southeast Asia. China is missing on purpose. We don't want to get in trouble there. China is out, but foreign direct investments, Chinese direct investments are included. For example, South Asia, as such, which represents, of course, the vast majority of the participating mills. But important is very important the fact that data we have also mills we can from Latin America, Southeast Asia. China is missing on purpose. Don't want to get in trouble there. To see China is out, but foreign direct investments, Chinese direct investments are included. So South Asia and the impact as such, which represents, of course, the vast majority of the participating mills. But important is very important the fact that we have also mills from Latin America, Southeast Asia. China is missing on purpose. Don't want to get in trouble there. On the left-hand side, you see the yield. That means in Latin America, they achieve the highest yields with the highest US cotton ratio. So that proves that US cotton leads to higher yields versus in Turkey, for example, content. But now let's have a look at the second slide, which is showing us the combed yield. And here, again, Latin America, highest yield, highest percentage of US cotton, and the rest you can see for yourself. Good. The next point is Cotton USA mill studies. It's not exactly a part of the solutions program, but that's what we do as well. We look into waste management, yarn, fabric, garment quality, and we check on environmental impact. And the latest study we did was to find out or to prove that with the higher elongation, fiber elongation that US cotton usually have, you will see an increased weaving performance, and that's exactly what we found out. And here the chart shows that with a higher fiber elongation, you would have, we've seen lower breaks during the weaving process, and that translates directly, and that's the most important thing, in a higher weaving efficiency. You've seen here growth for the other origins, cotton origins. Just a little bit more than 1 year, we had a leadership forum in Murree here in Pakistan, up in the mountains. And at that time, we asked the audience there, all owners and technical directors of Pakistani mills, whether a system like this would be interesting for them, and they said definitely yes, go ahead and work on it, and we did. So what is this thing doing? The yarn prediction system, it's using artificial intelligence, AI, and we talk later about AI becoming more and more important, of course, even in our daily life. So what that was sponsored by the EU at that time to try and develop the machines are, and that is that point when AI comes into play. Different settings, it would fail big time, it would need to learn again. Different settings, it would fail big time, it would need to learn again from scratch to learn the impact. Results will be after the pilot phase. Now that's another software piece that is for a knitting application, and you want to dye it in dark color. The system would tell you what would be the fiber parameter that you should use for that. Well, and slowly coming to the end, I mentioned it at the beginning, all what we do is complementary for US Cotton Trust Protocol members. So again, it's unique. There is no other cotton growing country in the world that offers anything like that, only US Cotton, and with our technical team. We have been 2 years ago, first time, we have been exhibiting. We had a booth at the ITMA in Milan in Europe, and that was quite successful. We had a lot of visitors there, all the friends came, and we were talking about the Mill Performance Index at that time. Now we can talk about yarn prediction system. So it's not only cotton that we have to offer, so we have systems, we have tools that helps the spinning industry. And if you are there, we would be happy if you visit us at Hall 3. Our stand is D208. Well, and you know, if you need more information about what we do, we have a lot more videos. Please visit our website, cottonusa.org. And if you need more information, please contact Mazar and his team. And with this, I'm done. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. York, for this amazing, impactful presentation. And now it's time for our first panel discussion. Yes, and this panel discussion is about the evolving world of textile fiber, exploring challenges and future opportunities in the world of textile fibers. And for this, I would like to invite our panelists, and online, we have two online panelists as well. And the first one is Eric, Director, ICAC, and Hens Schoneger, CEO, Banana Tech, and he's also going to join us online. Other than that, I would like to again call Mr. York, US Cotton Technical Service Expert, Cotton USA on stage. Mr. Asad Imran, Director of Sustainable Agriculture and Food Program, WWF Pakistan, and Mr. Bilal Israel Khan, progressive farmer, on stage, everyone. So we have Eric and Hens. Hi, I hope you can hear us.
Hello, I can hear you. I hope you can
Thank you for
hear
joining
me too.
us.
Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to see everyone. I look forward to the discussion.
Okay, so let's start our panel discussion. And we have some very, very interesting questions for all of you. And I'm going to start from Eric. So my question for you is, can you share insight on current state of global cotton production and consumption? Again, how are these trends evolving and what are the key factors are influencing them? Yes, please.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. I was in Pakistan earlier this year, and so it's always great to reconnect with the community there, and also it's a pleasure to reconnect with Cotton USA. First of all, I guess I'll talk about the long-term trends, and we see that basically cotton production, consumption, and trade have largely been stagnant for 20 years. It moves up and down, it varies a bit, but there's very little secular change in terms of just overall trends. But at the same time, we see that textile fiber demand has gone from 15 million to 107 million metric tons, which from about 1960 to 2003 is a growth of about 1.3% annually. At the same time, though, demand has only grown 1.3%, but basically about 10.4 million to 23.4 million metric tons. And so, unsurprisingly, given cotton's relatively slow growth compared to overall demand growth, its market share fell from 68% to about 21 or 22%. And this is really reflecting the rise of synthetic fibers. And we've seen that synthetic fibers, particularly polyester and nylon, have met the growing demands of expanding and more affluent population. In terms of our recent numbers, our forecast cotton lint demand and supply metrics for 25-26 are largely in line with some earlier estimates. And we're seeing that production is continuing to outpace consumption very slightly, with production estimated at 25.4 million metric tons and consumption pretty similar, although slightly lower. Trade has been upright. It is basically expected to be about 9.8 million metric tons. The ending stocks are about 3.8% lower to about 15.4 million metric tons, which is actually very low. It's actually the lowest since 2011 and 12. And I think the biggest reduction really came from China, which is continuing to draw down its ending stocks, which again is the lowest since 2012. So stepping back, I want to think about long-term challenges and opportunities. Of course, one of the real challenges cotton faces, and it's more expensive, which means it's really challenging for low-cost items to use it. There's a trend to fast fashion, of course, which again advantages synthetics. It's a natural product, so it varies because of adverse weather. It also has variable quality characteristics. For instance, polyester does not have micron hair, so it's harder to measure quality than polyester and nylon. There's a lack of competitiveness in some engineered uses, which I know some entities are working on. Competes with other crops for land area. And actually, I heard quite a bit about this when I was in Pakistan, where cotton area is under pressure because there are other crops that are giving higher economic returns. There are a lot of misconceptions about cotton, and there are issues of price volatility. But cotton does have unique advantages. It's a natural fiber. It's biodegradable with less waste and no microplastics. It can reduce poverty and and conflict and lead to economic growth. 43% of cotton farmers are women. It can help fight climate change, and I hope I get a chance to talk a little bit more about that. It grows in dry areas where other products can. And it's just a better product that people like. For instance, I'm wearing a cotton shirt. In terms of future trends, and this is where I'll stop, we do see some effects of regulation. Europe, for example, has its textile policies, and there are a lot of details behind that. There's a public perception issue. And we at ICAC like to call cotton a global public good because of its impact on environment, livelihoods, and women. And we do believe consumers are willing to pay for better products that are more sustainable. There's new technology being developed. I know Cotton Incorporated, for example, is developing technology to help cotton resist moisture, to be more tear resistant. We're also looking at improving cotton economics, and this is something I actually spent a lot of time in Pakistan talking about earlier this year. If farmers can make money with higher yields and through carbon payments, it can dramatically change cotton economics. We all need to tell the truth about cotton. We always hear about this number of 20,000 liters of water for 1 kilogram of cotton. That number is not true. Our chief scientist calculated it, and the number is 2355, which means cotton is very similar to other agriculture products. It's in the middle. And we do believe that cotton can regain market share if we are proactive on the issues. And actually, ICAC is active in all these areas in terms of carbon payments, leading a discussion on reclaiming market share, making cotton more competitive in technical uses. So we look forward to working with the industry in Pakistan and elsewhere to make this a reality. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you so much for telling the truth about cotton. I do have more questions for you, but before that, I would like to ask Mr. York, what do you think in the fiber field? Which new technology? Definitely, I'm talking about the AI. We all are scared and love AI, but what are your thoughts about the fiber tracking AI? Are playing a solid role in shaping the future of textiles?
AI definitely is a big thing. It's a big thing not only for the industry, of factories, companies. Just think about your simple private life. There's almost not a single day that I'm not using it today, right? I really enjoy, in the old days, if you're Googling something, right? You Google something, you put in a word, and then a website came up or whatever. Now you really can, as if there would be a living person, right? And you're also polite, and it's really something amazing. I really like it, and the information that you can retrieve is stunning. So for us organization, Cotton USA, we use AI for, most important thing is this yarn prediction system, machine learning, so that the software is really learning the particular propensities of a particular blow room line, carding machine, a whole production line. What are the particular things, and what is the impact of that line into the yarn quality beside the fiber properties. And we found that probably 70% or 60% comes from the fiber properties. That is decisive for the yarn quality, but 30 to 40% is coming from the machine. So in other words, you can have the best fiber properties, and you throw it in a machine with the card clothing is blunt, machine settings are completely off. Then there is nothing decent coming out. So that is something we're working on, and also we use it simply as encyclopedia, means a lexicon. A lexicon means our reports. We have stored them in files, and we can also ask with the help of AI to extract certain information out of that. So how many visits we have been conducting, and how many mills in the world having whatever this and that. So that helps us a lot. It's like a small intranet that of course has restricted access. Right.
Okay, so that means somehow we have to learn how to be okay with AI, how to use it very smartly, because there's no other way
Also, we
we're
have a
going to
special
have.
policy for that because, you know, if you put in certain information that are, you know, restricted and confident, that can go astray.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thank you so much. Now my next question is from Hens. Dear, can you explain what banana text? Although we know this is somehow related to banana, but can you please tell me its origin and how useful it is in today's sustainability focused textile landscape?
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm very happy to introduce our work and our innovation. Banana tex is actually a material that was developed by a Swiss bag brand. It's called Question. We founded that company in 2008, and we decided to use plant-based fibers for our products in a world full of plastics. And in the early days, we worked with cotton because that was basically everything we could, you know, get in the market as a very small company. But after some time, we learned that there might be other fibers that are very suitable for our needs. Actually, cotton is not the perfect fiber for a backpack that must be very durable. And therefore, we kept on searching and researching and started getting involved in material innovation. And we were organizing a supply chain in Europe with hemp fiber from Belgium, which we developed over the course of 2 years. And eventually it did not work for our own needs because the know-how wasn't there anymore. That was back in 2012. And we just kept on going. We worked with the bamboo, with nettle fibers. And in 2015, we discovered a certain species of banana fiber. It's called Musa textilis. It's home in the Philippines and Costa Rica and Ecuador. And it grows in agroforestry environment. So there's no monoculture, there's no pesticides, doesn't need fertilizer, and it's rain-fed. And the fiber itself is very strong, very long. And we thought this is maybe a good point to start a new development. And that's the base of Banana Tex. What we actually did is, together with partners in Taiwan, we found a way to spin the very coarse fiber into a fine yarn. And with that fine yarn, we made wovens that we used for our own bags. Some of them you can see like behind me. And because the need and the amount of requests for the material was so big, we decided to spin off an own company for that and develop products with other brands. And so we are now in the process of working with fashion, automotive, furniture brands, footwear, and we try to develop this to a bigger volume and to more applications in order to cause positive change.
Okay, wonderful. That sounds very interesting. We're definitely going to ask you a few more questions. But before that, I would like to ask Bilal Sahab. Tell us that how cotton production this year and what are the biggest challenges facing as a cotton farmer in Pakistan today, especially the climate impact.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Lisa. This is a very sophisticated and highly technical conference. On the other hand, my comments are those of a small farmer whose language is quite simple, but hopefully it will be found to be relevant and enlightening from the production point of view. So I've just sort of taken the liberty of writing down so that I don't forget anything important. I feel probably this year, as you all know, we have been regular on a very regular basis. We have been suffering from a reduction in production. And we have gone so low that once upon a time we thought it could never be so low, like, just 5 million bales from 14 million once. So this year also we are expecting probably lower than last year, which was about 7 million, because of the floods, and also because people are getting discouraged from cotton farming and going into other alternate crops. To put it in a nutshell, I think the main problem or the main reason for our declining production is the research, the lagging in research. There is research, but the time lag. By the time one challenge has been overcome, other new challenges have raised their heads, and then we are back to zero. For instance, in one way, to put it in another nutshell, another main reason is that we are a singular country that has this cotton leaf curl virus problem. If this weren't there, we would be able to import varieties from other countries and then increase our production, and wouldn't have to do so much research on our own. Because like in maize, in rice, in sugarcane, we are able to import robust varieties, and our production has risen significantly in those varieties. But in cotton, as soon as we bring a variety from outside, it is immediately attacked by this leaf curl virus, and it doesn't survive at all. So our research in the past few years, the main reason for the low cotton production was that, I'm sure you probably all know these things, that the pink bollworm and the white fly, they had developed resistance to the existing chemicals that were available. And by the grace of God, our people have worked, and pink bollworm, that challenge was overcome by developing triple gene varieties which control the pink bollworm. And for the white fly, the velvet leaf varieties which are make it non-conducive for white fly to thrive. But then, as I said, as soon as we are able to overcome one challenge, another one raises its head. Now the biggest problem that is occurring in the fields is that the reddening of leaves and the dying back of the cotton plants. Honestly speaking, our scientists have no idea why that is occurring. They make wild guesses, like first they used to say that it's climate change, and because of the rains, the roots are not able to take up the nutrients from the soil, and therefore, let me know if I make it too long.
No, it's okay. We are listening to you.
So then therefore the farmer must make foliar applications of nutrients. So that's what we do. We do apply amino acids and micronutrients, and even nitrogen and potassium and phosphorus. That has helped to some extent, but even when there is no rain, like this year there was no rain problem, that problem is still there. And as you all know, cotton is a perennial plant. it means it can go on for years and years. You might have seen in the research institute, like you can develop it into a tree probably. It is we who force it to act like an annual.
Absolutely. But I guess we all need to appreciate our small farmer community so that they are overcoming the challenges and still moving on. So thank you so much. My next question is from Asad Imran Sahab. Can you please tell us what are the key initiatives and contribution by WWF in sustainable cotton production, and how do these initiatives benefits the textile industry?
Thank you. Thank you, Bilal Sahab, and our guest from USA. WWF, as we all know, is an environment conservation, nature conservation and environment protection organization. And especially in Pakistan, we started working on agriculture and particularly on cotton around 2 decades ago. And the reason behind working on cotton crop was its economic significance for the country and for the textile industry. It's the raw material for a huge industry in Pakistan. And socioeconomic and environmental impacts it has on the ground. Today we are talking about fibers and new technologies and how to dye it, how to use AI, how to use machines. But definitely the journey starts at the raw material that is grown by 1.6 million smallholder farmers in Pakistan. They're all smallholder farmers, less than 2 hectares of land. So they have their own specific socio-economic and environmental issues that needs to be dealt. So we started working with these cotton farmers 2 decades ago, and with brands, with some other donor agencies like IKEA and other brands as well. So currently, and then we also thought that only bringing the impact on the ground might not be believable by the market. So you have to go for the certifications. We are proudly the founder member of Better Cotton, which is almost 12% of Pakistan's cotton right now. That's coming from our projects. We are the largest IP for Better Cotton in Pakistan, producing around 120,000 metric tons of Better Cotton with 30,000 farming families. That brings in around 150 million US dollars worth of savings if that has to be imported. Pardon, sir. And similarly, we are also the pioneer in organic cotton in Pakistan, currently quite small, but we are progressing. 100,000 bales every year we are producing. And thanks to various textile groups, national textile groups, who have funded these initiatives in Pakistan, also providing raw material. We are proudly, first ever Better Cotton bale came from Bilal Israel's farm around 15 years ago under a WWF Pakistan project. We also have the pride to have first ever organic cotton bale coming from WWF Pakistan's project. And recently, the region cotton. There are 5 of the brands who have supported projects on the ground, and we are also having region cotton certifications. So we are not only making the impacts on the socio-economic side of the farming communities, we are helping them saving on synthetic fertilizer, pesticides, water, supporting them to improve their livelihood, resilience. We are also supporting the textile industry in making them or making the raw material available for them for further processing and onwards what we are talking about.
Definitely, that's a huge contribution for the cotton industry and production in Pakistan. And we do have more questions for you, but before that, I'll go back to Eric. So Eric, my next question is, the ICAC recently launched a carbon footprint app to help measure emission in cotton production. Can you tell us how producers are using this tool and what impact it has on the fiber supply chain?
Well, first of all, thank you. Yeah, in terms of the app, producers are using this as part of our carbon certification process. And this is just starting. Am I on mute? Okay, no, I'm not. Okay, sorry. Just starting in Cameroon, Uzbekistan, and elsewhere. And the goal is really to help farmers improve yields and farm returns by building on approaches that we've developed in Africa. These basically include several different components. One is biochar, which is basically activated charcoal, bokashi, which is a very rapid type of composting, and then jibamura, which are microorganisms. And the idea basically is to increase yields and then allow farmers to get paid for carbon. So this process begins with training farmers in regenerative agriculture. And then after that training is complete, the steps include registering farmers in a carbon credit program, doing a baseline assessment of carbon, and basically estimating emissions and equivalents in terms of CO2. And all of these can be estimated using the app. Then basically measuring biochar production, where cotton stalks are converted into biochar through this process, which is called pyrolysis, which is basically a controlled burn. Quantifying the carbon, putting the biochar into the soil, which is really how you generate the carbon credit, because the process starts, there's CO2 in the air, it gets incorporated into the plant. When you have pyrolysis, it gets locked into the plant, so it basically doesn't either go back to the atmosphere through decomposition or through uncontrolled burning. So when that carbon moves from the plant back into the soil, that's how you calculate the carbon reduction, the carbon sequestration. And then finally, you get a third-party verification certification, and where they validate the process. And this is what allows farmers to get credit. So just sort of putting some financial figures on this. Biochar production application are very cheap, especially with the methods that we've developed, maybe $15 to $20 a hectare. Third-party validation certification, maybe $10. It goes up or down, depends on the scale of the verification program, because there's some high fixed costs to set them up. Carbon credit prices vary. We kind of use a number of about $100 a ton. So the bottom line is that allows farmers to get between $200 or $300 a hectare just for carbon.
Wow.
And because it's more money, and on top of it, it's a diversified source of income. It's not attached to cotton lint prices. So if you add the higher yields and the carbon payments, this could be a revolution for cotton economics.
Definitely. It's a very fascinating app. Thank you, Eric. Now moving to York. Can you please tell us how have recent US tariff, the world is traumatized by the US tariff, but how you see it impacted the global cotton and textile supply chain, and what are the long-term effects are you seeing in this industry? I hope it's positive. Please say it.
Well, it was clear that you asked this question, but I have to say that I'm a bit farther away from the center point. I'm a non-American living in Bangkok, right?
But still.
I'm a bit further away from that center, but okay, joke aside, what I can say is, for sure, is that the tariffs have disrupted the normal supply chain flow significantly, right? Big time. And they just have made the cotton and textile trade more expensive and less predictable. That's very important, less predictable. And many buyers now, they try to shift orders from different countries to avoid higher costs. And for producers, this means more uncertainty, what I said already, in planning and pricing, for example. And in the long term, I see three main effects. I can say, first of all, countries are trying to diversify their sourcing instead of depending on one region only, and there will be more focus. Secondly, more focus on local or regional supply chains to reduce the risk. And thirdly, there might be more pressure on manufacturers to become more efficient and competitive, because the buyers will always look for the best balance of cost and reliability. And for Pakistan, particularly, the US tariffs on China created both a challenge and opportunities. On one hand, global buyers, they looked for alternatives, to China, and Pakistan got more attention now as a reliable supplier. And that helped our Pakistani textile exports definitely in the short term. But in the long run, it means also more competition, because Pakistan is not alone. Countries like Vietnam, Bangladesh, and India are a vital alternative, and getting stronger positions as well. And for Pakistan to benefit, we have to focus on improving the efficiency, product quality, which is already good, and a timely delivery, so that Pakistan can hold the new business that they gain.
Definitely, I guess we need to say thanks to US for this tariff, because that means we are going to explore more mediums. We are going to be better than before. So thank you for that. So moving on, my next question will be from Hens. So Hens, can you please tell us how can innovative fibers realistically compete with conventional fibers on the global scale? Once again, something very technical. Are we close to achieving parity in terms of scalability, durability, and cost?
Well, I think we're quite far away from those parity terms that you mentioned. I think there are quite a lot of innovation developments going on at the moment. We meet regularly in conferences or other platforms, exhibitions, where people work on new supply chains with, seaweed, with kapok, with hemp, with nettle, biofabricated things. So there's a lot going on in the world. A lot of search is going for alternatives, but I think most of them are quite far away from a price parity to existing fibers. And when you compare with, for example, polyester, I think it's very clear that those natural fibers will never be at the same price point. And the reason is easy. I mean, polyester is sold at a certain price, but that is not equaling the cost. If you look at the cost of polyester and what it does for future generations, then the material should be much more expensive. And I think as long as we have that kind of error in the system, and we actually do, we will not reach parity, and the competitiveness price-wise will not be enough of an argument for buyers, companies, and brands, unless there is legislation, terms and policies that make that competition much fairer, and I would appreciate that.
Wonderful. Definitely, we all are here for looking the innovative solution. Thank you so much. And now my next question is from Asad Imran. How has the recent flood situation in Pakistan impacted cotton's production, and to what extent has it affected its quality?
Yes, we are quite, all of us are aware that though the magnitude of the current floods, it's not comparable to the ones we had in 2022, when half of our Sindh province and Punjab were inundated. But particularly this time, the floods have hit particular areas, especially the cotton belt, along the river Satluj up to Bahawalpur, and many of the districts which are a part of core cotton growing areas have lost more than 50% of their crop. So first of all, what we are going to see, still the mapping and the guesstimates or the estimates are coming in. There's a lot, the loss is quite bigger than just the crop. I think it's bigger, but the livelihood, the houses, the infrastructure, the roads, farmlands, farm equipment. It's a quite huge loss, and plus the crops. First of all, we think that at least we are going to be at least 1 million bales short, hovering around, as Bilal Sab said, maybe 5 million or so. The quality is definitely going to be deteriorated. Exposure to rain, water, standing water in the crops, outbreak of pests and diseases, contamination. So you can expect quite lower quality, higher contamination, and again, the roads are not there, the infrastructure is damaged, so travel times or transportation costs, they will be higher as well. So there is a lot.
Yeah, but truly it's a difficult time for them. But
Time.
we know, being Pakistani, we are coming back stronger, inshallah, very soon. So, Eric, I have a question for you. What do you think? What percentage of global cotton produced is sustainable? And what would you suggest to cotton producing countries to make efforts on it?
I think one of the questions is that it really depends on the definition of sustainable, because there are some significant disagreements. One thing is you see is that, and again, as ICAC, we don't take a position, we support cotton, period. We support all of the countries, we support cotton globally, so we're not picking sides, one certification over another. That's just not what we do. And in fact, one of the issues that cotton faces is sometimes the certifications attack each other. So again, we want everyone to be successful. The suggestions in terms of like how to become more sustainable really vary on country-specific factors. Like, for example, we just heard from another presentation about Pakistan's unique pest and disease profile. And basically, sustainability will depend on soil, water, access to capital, policy, market access. And again, I think generally speaking, we support countries that employ ways to boost yields, improve quality, boost farm income, and support environmental sustainability. So it all depends. Of course, the world's largest certification program is BCI, but there are other standards. For instance, global organic standards. There's GOTS. There's Cotton Made in Africa. So there are many, many different standards. We find at ICAC basically, excuse me, most cotton in the world is actually grown sustainably one way or another. But if we want to sort of improve that, this is one of the reasons why we're promoting our approach to regenerative agriculture, which is suitable for some producers, but not necessarily for all. But if we actually proceed and we actually have more sustainable agriculture, then it can actually have really positive environmental effects. So again, it really depends on the system. I think the one really important issue is always to tell the truth about cotton. And I'll end with one point, is that if you look at greenhouse gas emissions per kilogram of fiber, cotton is a third of that emitted by polyester and nylon. So we actually have a really positive story. We just need to get better at telling it. Thank you.
Absolutely. But thank you so much for your motivating ideas. And definitely, once again, thank you so much for telling the truth about cotton. So my next question is from Hens. So Hens, I already expressed my feeling that it is a very fascinating idea what you are talking about, banana text you guys are doing. So could there be any opportunity to work with farmers or industry players in Pakistan to develop banana-based fiber locally? What factor would you important for you for making such a collaboration successful?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, there are only 3 countries in the world where this kind of this species of musa is growing at the moment. But we believe in a variety of different fibers that should be the textile future. It's never good to have a one big to fail element. Nature shows us that, and I think there are lots of great fibers that nature offers, but we not yet have, embraced them to a level that can be used. And I think there are fibers in almost every region in the world that is home. But of course, Southeast Asia, Asia in general, has even more opportunities due to the climate situation there and warm weather, the humidity that is very often much better and higher than, for example, in Europe. From what I understand, without being an expert on Pakistan, I think the banana plants in general strive there. There are lots of regions where bananas grow, and therefore I think it would be, of course, possible to start agroforestry projects, reforestation projects that can be done together with our Musa Textiles. From our understanding, that could be an opportunity in basically every tropical region. And that could be one element for future variety fibers, but I think there will be others, hopefully also, that come to life and give us a
Definitely,
more
we are looking forward for the
resilient
conversation.
and stable supply.
Thank you, thank you. So coming to you, York, can you please tell us what top 3 suggestion would you have to share with Pakistan's spinning industry to remain profitable and future ready? Very important, future ready amid this global disruption.
Yeah, I'm coming to Pakistan now since, I joined CCI 5 years ago, 6 years now. And there are clearly 2 things that are a little bit problematic in Pakistan. One is the very high energy cost, but that's, local government issue, kind of.
We are facing
that
it.
you need to solve. And then the second thing is definitely labor productivity. The labor productivity is one of the lowest that we see in the regions that we travel. And we have now objective proof for that with the Mill Performance Index, the benchmarking program, where we can compare really countries with each other, and Pakistan is ranking the lowest. So the suggestion is clearly to invest in kind of, anything that is renewable energy, right? Energy intensive, adopting energy efficient machinery, if that is possible. Look at that, and anything that can reduce energy cost and stabilize that would be number 1. And then number 2, when it comes to labor productivity, automation, upgrade technology, that would be something I would recommend. Modernizing spinning mills with automation. Process monitoring is also very important. Monitoring or use the digital tools. We talked a lot about AI, but just single spindle monitoring and all these things, that is important. And then also it helps not only to reduce the labor cost. Labor cost is still very cheap in Pakistan. That's why people don't think about it. I'm from Europe. Our textile industry died years ago because of the labor cost. We were not competing with the rest of the world. There was no chance. And I was a poor mill manager, and the owner of our factory said, York, if you don't reduce 10% of the labor again for next year, I have to shut down the factory right now. And this was anything but fun, not only for the people, but if you cut flesh that it doesn't work anymore, that's terrible. So now Pakistan is far away from that, but time clock is ticking. So I think investment in automation is not a bad thing. And the third thing is, of course, everyone speaks about it. It's a must. Sustainability, right? Value-added products. The global buyers increasingly demand sustainable, traceable. Traceable is very important in eco-friendly yarns. Investing in organic cotton or regenerative cotton, that would be something. Recycled fibers. Even us spinners, we don't like using recycled fibers, to say it clearly, right? Because our machines in spinning and the spinners out there in the room, they know it exactly, are designed to take the short fibers out, right? The blow room takes short fibers out. The carding machine is taking short fibers out. So we throw the recycled mouse hair in, and our machines take it out again. So it's questionable in a way. But again, that's the third focus that I see for Pakistan.
Definitely, very smart suggestions. And we have one last question for this session, and then we will move forward with the question answer session. So my last question is from Eric. Eric, please tell us, how have the global tariff disputes impacted the global cotton trade, and what are the implications for producers, exporters and importers around the world?
Okay. As we all know, the tariff issues have been really quite disruptive. They've changed some long-standing trade relationships, and really, I think, just mentioned earlier, introduced considerable uncertainty into the system. I think in response to the risk, I think the default option is, again mentioned earlier, to diversify sourcing and markets to reduce the probability of the highly disruptive outcomes. We've also seen some markets change, for example, where U.S. cotton is going. I think CCI, of course, is sort of the leader in thinking about it, but we've seen U.S. cotton exports to China go down in favor of Brazil, but we've also seen the U.S. get market share in other markets. And this is not without a cost, though. While diversification of markets can really reduce risk, it also has its own cost. It does reduce efficiency. For instance, exporters will send product to a market that's willing to pay less than maybe the market they lost, or importers will bring in products that are more expensive, again, to diversify their sources. So it does raise costs, and it adds friction to the trading system. So as a result, this can reduce producer prices, increase logistics costs, and compel importers and traders to develop really more complicated set of business relationships. So I think it continues, but also we see this increased need for agility, so that if a market closes all of a sudden, they need to be able to switch both from the sourcing side and the export side to adapt rapidly. So those are just a few of the kind of the high-level changes. Thank you.
Definitely, we all agree with you. So now it's time for our question answer session. So anyone wants to ask a question from the audience? Can you please forward him the mic?
My name is Mazhar Ali from Vital Private Limited, Sialkot, and my question to Mr. George from the representative CCI. How many U.S. cotton fiber are you exporting in Pakistan in the year of 2025?
Sorry.
Can you please repeat the question, and can you please put your mic near to your mouth so that we can hear it?
So I'm repeating my question to Mr. George from U.S. Cotton. How much U.S. cotton fiber are you exporting in Pakistan in the 2025 year? How many bales? How many bales?
How many bales imported?
Yes, exported to Pakistan.
You're exporting to Pakistan. How much?
Oh yeah, I can say how Pakistan is. It depends. It comes, year by year, changes a little bit. But the three most important countries for U.S. cotton to import is, let's not talk about China, but the three most important countries is Turkey, Pakistan, and Vietnam. And that changed. Sometimes Pakistan is the biggest importer, sometimes Turkey is in front, sometimes Vietnam. And bale-wise, that is a very good question. Let's say the U.S. produces about 15 million bales per year, 10% stays, or 15% stays in the U.S. So I would say probably 2.5 million. Mazhar, if he would be sitting there, he is out, he would have the question. I recommend, he's out in our booth, ask him directly, he can tell you with the comma, precisely.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next question. Anyone wants to ask a question from the audience?
Good evening. I am Makbul Arang from Interloop Faisalabad. My question is from Hans. Do we have any kind of test available to verify banana fiber? If yes, then which test is that, and from where we can have this test? Will you please guide me?
So I'm not sure if I got that right. The question is, how can you test the existing banana fibers, whether they're suitable or not?
Exactly. That's the question.
Well, at the moment, there's no suitable banana fiber in Pakistan at all because the species we work with isn't growing there. It's called Musa textilis, and it grows up to like 4-meter side stems, and that is the base for our fibers. So actually, we can test fibers if we get them, but Pakistan will not yet be able to supply any.
My question is not for Pakistan. As you have worked very much for banana fiber, so you must be aware of any test available all over the world, wherever it is, if possible, to test to verify that the fiber is from banana.
Okay, still not 100% sure. So the question is, how can we make sure it's banana fiber?
Yes. How can we make sure, or how can we verify?
Okay, well, in our case, we work with agroforestry projects on site in Mindanao, Philippines. So we know the farmers, we know how they grow, we know how they harvest, we know where the fibers are collected, and we know how it's further processed. So for us, as we have a 360-degree visibility over the supply chain, that is not a question. But we can do tests, for example, with Textiles in Switzerland, and they were new to the topic, but in the meantime, after a few years, they can detect the source of the plant.
I guess that's all. It's time to wrap our first panel discussion. I would like to thank you to all panelists, Eric, Hens, York, Asad Sahab, and Bilal Sahab. Thank you so much. And now we're going to take a small tea break, and inshallah, we're going to continue afterwards. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.
Hello everyone. Can I have your attention please? The tea break is almost over. I would like to request you to please be seated so that we can resume the conference. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly be seated. I can see all the ladies has been already seated. Now the gentlemen are left. Please be seated so that we can resume the conference. I would like to request my all guests which are standing, please be seated. We are all waiting for you to get settled